listening to SLPP Radio.
Good evening, wherever you are, and a very warm welcome to the Sleepy Let's Play podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to the new launch of the second gameplay for the channel. I'm your host, Tiny, and I'm really glad you could join me tonight. And a very happy new year to you. I'd love to be a small part of your 2026 bedtime routine, so feel free to follow along if you'd like. I've got plenty of cozy gameplay for you. Now, before we begin, let's take a moment to breathe and relax. Doesn't matter if you're in a bed, on a couch, a sleeping bag at a sleepover, or tucked away in the corner of a room somewhere, avoiding all the noise. Close those lovely eyes and take in a deep breath for 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, and now breathe out for 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold again for 1, 2, 3, 4. Feel free to do this a few more times as you relax into your spot. Try to see if you can feel any tension you might be holding in your body, and let it go as you pull up the covers around you to try to get even more cozy and warm. I'll give you a moment. Are you ready? Let's begin. This is a casual, calm, and quiet podcast session where I will play some games for you. No stress to complete everything or to be perfect. Just softly listen to a new or old gaming experience. I will try my best to describe characters, environments, and situations to you, as well as read out any dialogue or text that happens to appear on screen. And hopefully, my rambling will lull you to sleep. Now, let's play Final Fantasy IV. Yeah, I have never, not a once. That's pretty. That's really pretty. I know that, well, first off, I'm going into this game completely blind. Like, I've only ever watched someone play Final Fantasy VII and 15 before, so I don't really know much about this series at all. However, I have been told that 4 is a good place for newbies to start, in terms of like gameplay, and that all the Final Fantasy stories or games are like that they're self-contained. Another thing that I do know, I don't remember the name, but apparently the composer has been the same throughout all the Final Fantasy games, or at least like a certain amount of them, which is really cool. I'm honestly extremely excited to hear all the scores because they're beautiful, and I've heard some of them before. People seem to really, really love the OSTs of Final Fantasy, so please bear with me as we go through this adventure together, as I do not have a guidebook. Alright, let's start. Okay, so this is the remake or the Pixel remaster. Let's start with the opening screen. Now, before me is a mostly white background. In the center, a little bit more closer to the top, not 100% centered, is the text. Black text, kind of bold, very not like script, not like sans or papyrus or anything sort of like that. I don't actually know this font style, but it's a little bit longer and tighter together. It says Final Fantasy 4, and then 4 is in the Roman style with the IV, and in between Final and Fantasy, there's a character. This sort of mystical warrior type sort of looking guy. It's standing in between Final Fantasy. The character is going from top to bottom, purple and then fading. Well, actually more blue and then fading out to like a purpley pink. They're holding a spear. The armor is kind of like non-traditional. Like there's like some spiky points on it. The helmet kind of almost looks like it has like a beak or something. And we see this kind of very like stern masculine face. Very like kind of harsh lines and like sharp jaw. Let's see. Yeah, so that's what that kind of looks like at the moment. And then down below that, maybe like a couple inches still in the center, is press any button, which is actually flickering on and off. So it's like it appears on screen, then it fades out to white, then it appears on screen. The text is colored in blue, like a light blue, and then has like a shadow that appears underneath it, like a dropped shadow. It's quite cool. And then at the very bottom, we have in smaller text Square Enix logo and image illustrations. And then I'm gonna mess this up. Yoshitaka Mano. I don't know if I did that good or not. I'm sure people will tell me otherwise. So let's press any button to start this adventure. Okay, I clicked any button, and we are brought to it's the same page, but a new options has appeared. Where the press any button to start was, we now have vertically in that same sort of area in the center, load game, which is grayed out. New game, which is that same sort of text. It's smaller than the title, obviously, and it's not as fancy. The color is not blue anymore, but it's now highlighted in yellow with that same sort of drop shadow. And on the left side of that is a little gloved finger pointing towards the new game option to indicate that that's what we have potentially to select right now. And there's a little drop shadow underneath that. It's very cute. It's very like classic pixel art style with the thin one like pixel outline in black, and then the rest of the shading is done with different levels of like gray to show the shadows where they would hit on like the hand. So it's very cool. So I'm hovering over new game right now, but below that we have an option for extras, and then underneath that is options, and underneath that is closed or close. So let me go down one to extras to see if we have any extras. So when I click on extras, which is cute when you move the arrow keys, the little pointy finger glove follows with you, obviously. The option menu here is still on the same screen, just the text has changed now. At the top of the list, going from top to bottom, we have bestiary, which is grayed out, because we don't have anything in there right now, I'm assuming, because we haven't played the game. Music player, which is currently highlighted in yellow, which has the little pointer guy next to. Underneath that is gallery, and underneath that is back. So if I select music player, oh, okay, select music player, it brings us to a completely new screen. Completely new screen. I might go back for now, instead of kind of describing this, because I don't want to go here just quite yet before we actually play some of the games. So I'm gonna hit the at the very very bottom right part of the screen. There is uh instructions, not instructions, but like it tells you what buttons do which, and I can see that the backspace button is the back button. So I'm gonna hit backspace to go back. And we're back at our title screen. I'm assuming gallery is going to take us somewhere else, sort of like that as well. So I'm just going to go all the way to back. Let's check out options for a second, just to see what my controls are. Okay, so once I hit options, we have the options change. Now we at the top, we have configuration, which is highlighted in yellow with the pointer finger right now, because that's what we have highlighted over by default. Underneath that is privacy policy. Underneath that is license. Underneath that is back. So I'm going to go to configuration real quickly. And it brings, okay, so this also brings us to a completely other menu as well. I'm just going to quickly look here for a second. There's like language, display settings, font style. I'm not sure what BGM type means. Brightness and master volume. So I'm not going to tinker with any of these right now. And I'll go into detail describing this maybe after we do some gameplay. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go all the way to the bottom option, which is back. And I'm just going to go ahead and start a new game. So let's select new game. And it all fades out to white. Oh, okay. Before us, we have three. They look like like flying. Not spaceships, but whatchamacallit, like ships. Very like cute little pixel art form flying over a world map in like a V formation. And now we faded out to black, and now we've faded in, and we're on said ship. Yeah, it's like a wooden sail ship, but it seems to be able to fly. The deep far background. We're top down right now, by the way, if that helps. The deep background is a beautiful kind of pixelated, but more detailed, pixelated painting of clouds whooshing by us, going from bottom of screen to top of screen. In the center, taking up the vast majority of our screen space, is this wooden ship. For pixel art, it's quite detailed. The outline of the ship going from the tip of where like the wheel is, or the mast and all that stuff is at the bottom. And I believe the back of the ship will be at the top of the screen. There is our main focal point right now is a little pixel dude kind of sitting in the center of the ship, who seems to be wearing some sort of bluey steel type armor, very like pointed shoulders, the helmet kind of coming to points. Actually, it almost looks like there's like two little yellow slits on the helmet, as if it was like a dragon's head or something. On the side, on either side of this character, to both the left and the right sides, there are two soldiers, I guess, or shipmates, or people on either side. Going vertically, there's one directly beside on the left side, one directly beside them on the right side, and then underneath another one of these characters. These four characters that are wearing like gold and red armor are all the exact same sprite. And the bottommost on each side are next to some whatchamacallit, cannons. Yes, beside some cannons, and then back to the center and more downwards towards the front of the ship, so at bottom screen, there's another one of those sprite characters that has like the kind of gold helmet and the red outfit with some like gold adornments on it. Is that same kind of character, but facing towards our kind of more focal pointed, blue steely dragon looking kind of character. At the very top, maybe like half an inch just below the top of screen, we have our dialogue box. This dialogue box is a long rectangular shape, but it is beveled at the edges, so kind of soft. The body of this rectangle is blue that fades from a lighter blue at the top of the dialogue box to a darker blue at the bottom of the dialogue box. It's also semi-transparent, so we can kind of sort of see through it a little bit. The dialogue box itself is outlined in a thick white embossed border. And then at the top part of the dialogue box, at the left side, is another smaller, even more beveled kind of rectangular shape. So it's more like a almost two half spheres on the end that are connected to the middle or through the middle with straight lines. And that's outlined in a singular thin black pixel with a slightly dark-ish blue that fills up the majority of it. That's also transparent. And then the text that's in that little box is white, and it says crewman. And then below that, in the actual dialogue box, we have more white text. This text actually is quite smooth. For what I would think is like pixel art, like this is probably the smoothest stuff inside the game so far. And this says, Captain, we will arrive at Baron shortly. So once I hit enter, the dialogue box, the name that's in the top left corner changes. And the name that's in this box now says Cecil, Cecil. I think that's Cecil. The dialogue box didn't change except for the name and the actual dialogue in it, but the name tag area, I'm going to call it, went from being outlined in that kind of singular pixel black line to like a light kind of sky blue, and it also filled in on the left and the right sides a little bit with more blue, so we have a thicker kind of like outline now. The text says ... Very well. I'm assuming Cecil is our main focusy kind of character dude with the bluish outfit. So you're Cecil. I'm just going to refer to you as Cecil from now on. Cecil also seems to have some sort of like belt with a tiny little 2 pixel. I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second. I choked on the air itself. A little red like belt buckle or something. Okay, moving on. And now Cecil puts their head down, so we cannot see Cecil's face anymore, just the helmet. And then the crewmen all kind of did like a little marching in spot animation with their little pixel art. It's very cute. Like their faces are like purely just basically just a square shape, and then like eyes that kind of protrude out on the side. The eyes are also like just basically 2 pixels worth of white dots going like vertically, and then beside that like maybe like another single pixel that's a black dot. They kind of look a little cross-eyed. Very cute though. Like it's amazing what they can do with like the pixel art set amount like of colors that you were able kind of to use for pixel art, but to create such detail and shading, like they do a really good job. I won't be able to describe it and like give it justice. Justice. But just believe me that like the way that they've done the shading of the pixel art actually creates the illusion of some things being more like 3D-esque, which is really kind of cool. The dialogue box has now changed to crewmen saying, "The captain seems kind of down. After what we did, who wouldn't be?" I'm assuming that's another crewman talking. Oh, and this time, a little arrow facing downwards has shown up in the bottom right corner of the dialogue box. Crewman, orders are orders, but killing innocent people to get the crystals isn't right. I agree with you, crewman. They do their little walking, marching, and spot animation again. Oh, and we're fading out to black. We fade back into a new scene. Uh-oh. Something bad's going down. Before us, we see a scene of the crewmen and Cecil attacking some innocent people. There's like maybe like a nun or something. Looks like maybe like a priest or something. Oh dear, they're uh-oh. There's a giant crystal in the middle of this sort of maybe sacred looking place. Cecil has gone up and taken this gem and now is leaving the area with their head down. I wish there was more time to describe it to you. Okay, we're back on the ship. Let me try to describe what I saw. It was another area, I believe a flashback to what happened where crewman and Cecil busted into this. It kind of looked like a sacred temple sort of type of situation. Lots of brown tones. There was some pillars. There was like some sort of maybe altar, whatnot. There seemed to be there was 4 other characters in there that were not the crewman and Cecil. One was like a lady dressed in robes. The other two, I forget what they looked like. I'm so sorry, but they were on either side of the like lady. And then behind them was an older kind of bald man. I think they had like a pigtail, but also I remember them being bald. So they might be bald, but also pigtail, like or like braided, like a braid. They and the crewmen attacked the 3 first people. And they shoved the other guy out of the way into the side and seemed to have maybe not killed him but damaged him in some sort of way, whereas the others they attacked and those sprites disappeared. And now we're back on the ship. Oh yeah, but the crystal was like blue, by the way, and it was big. Like the crystal was bigger in size than any of the sprites I have been so far. But yes, the crewmen now say the red wings are supposed to protect people, not harm them. They do, the crewmen do a little, or the red wings, I guess, do their little marching animation again. And Cecil, who was looking downwards, now looks back up and takes a few steps forwards. They're like towards the front end of the ship. And Cecil says in the dialogue box, "That's enough." 2 of the crewmen that were on either side of Cecil move in closer, and so they turn towards like the center. They walk a little bit and they turn back towards the front. The other 2 crewmen that were below them near the cannons turn in to look at Cecil, and the 5th guy that's more like I guess steering the ship is now looking forward towards us. The crewmen say, "But Captain, surely you don't condone what we've done." Now Cecil says, "All of you, listen well. The raid on Mysidia, Mysidia, I hope I pronounced that right, was imperative for Baron's prosperity." I don't know, man. That never turns out well or is really ever justified. And then the little arrow key pops up again, so I'm gonna hit enter. The Mysidians know too much about the crystals. Their very possession of one is a threat to Baron. Suspicious. His Majesty ordered we obtain their crystal, and as soldiers of the Royal Air Force, we are sworn to obey. I don't know, this sounds like some sort of corruption levels already that I'm getting vibes from. Especially with this, like, music. It's like, it's so intense. Um, I hope it's not too intense, for you all. Amazing score, though. It kind of reminds me a little bit of, like, some of the Star Wars music. Um, I'm not comparing the two, but that's what it reminds me of in my brain a little bit. Crewmen, go. Captain. They all do their little marching walk in their spot. Captain puts his head back down. Oh, there is a sixth crewmate that appears kind of out of nowhere from the bottom right side of the ship and walks their way through around the wheel of the ship. Is that called the steering mast? I don't remember. It's been a while since I've learned anything about ships. And walks up and around beside the one who is steering to their left side and is looking towards Captain Cecil, who, yes, has their head back down, I guess in shame, I would hope, and says, "Captain, monsters sighted dead ahead." Cecil says, "Prepare for battle." And they all move into battle formation. Oh, that's kind of cool. The screen, like, broke apart into pieces and turned into, like, this battle screen, which I'm watching Cecil fight these and obliterate these creatures that sort of look like, Mike Wazowski. They kind of look like less bright green, more monstrous versions of Mike Wazowski with like wings and more sharper teeth and whatnot. Yeah, it was really cool actually. Again, I never played a Final Fantasy game, so like the screen kind of had this awesome transition effect where it broke into like pixelated kind of chunks and it fell down towards the bottom of the screen, and then a new area popped up before us, which was, I guess, the battle, the battle, uh, not animation, because it's its own, like, area, like the battle screen area, and that perspective changed, because right now we've been looking everything from top down, but the perspective changed to be more like, look kind of side-scroller-y, even though it's not a side-scroller, but that kind of side view where we saw Cecil and those three on Cecil was on the right side of screen, and then the monsters were on the left side of screen, kind of all clustered together, sort of like top to bottom, but kind of more clustered than that. And then there was a like a option dialogue box area menu down below with some options. I just wasn't able to really describe it quick enough as the game kind of just started playing on without me. So we're back on the ship now, and one of the crewmen has fallen, or appears to have fallen, as their sprite seems to be splayed out on the ground. The crewman to the top left side of Cecil, where one of the cannons was. Actually, they've all kind of shifted positions. There's one crew member at the very, very bottom center. There's the one crew member who's still at the ship's wheel. Two of the crewmen have gone on either side of the wheel, which is more towards the bottom of the screen or the front of the ship, next to two other cannons, and then two of them stay behind in that main area with Cecil at the other cannons. And the one has kind of like looks kind of smooshed or splayed out on the ground. We can see their legs are now like where their head was, and their head's now where their legs was, and their eyes are closed. And they go, ugh. Cecil says, "Are you all right?" Crewman says, "We've got more hostiles." Cecil says, "Damnation." Okay, and now that animation happens again, and we're back to the fight screen. Cecil's now fighting some bird dragon creature, and they use the attack called Blue Fang, 400 and something damage, and it's gone. That was fast. That's happening too fast to describe a whole lot to you. But yeah, another monster appeared. It was some sort of like bird dragon-esque looking kind of creature. It was like another sort of bluish color. Appeared on the left side of the screen. Cecil on the right. Cecil used Blue Fang and immediately destroyed it. Upon its death, actually, the animation for that, like when it gets triggered, is similar to where it kind of like pixels out, like it starts like a dissolve effect, but like you can see the kind of pixels like slowly almost erasing. It's fascinating. Cecil, now back on the ship in the center, says, "Is everyone okay?" Oh, more crew members. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now there's 8 of the Red Wing dudes. Crewmen say, "All accounted for, sir. We've been encountering more monsters than ever lately. There's no end to them. Could it be some kind of omen?" This music is very intense. They'll do a little sprite animation. I'm sorry, this is quite the opening scene. Trying to just talk out things a little bit for you here, make it a little bit more droll, but this is rather upbeat and exciting. Crewman goes, "Captain, we are now approaching Baron." Cecil says, "Very well. Prepare for landing." They all go to their posts, do a little walking cycle animation, and we fade to white. We fade back into the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these ships, little pixel style, flying across a map, and we land at a kingdom. Oh, the perspective kind of shifted for a second. We looked like more directly top down. We are in front of a castle now. Okay, so yeah, the ships that were in like a V formation were flying across the map and stopped in front of a castle sprite. Because it was a small little sprite in the center of this kind of like map, because they're flying high up. Funnily enough, when they were flying, it was more like a 3/4 kind of perspective, where it's not really looking downwards or at the side, but somewhere in between. And when we landed at the castle, the perspective shifted to a top down, and then we faded out to black and then back into this new scene before us. There is a castle. We don't see the entirety of the castle because I'm assuming it's huge. We can see though that there's a moat around the castle with water. Actually, the water animation is stunning. I have no clue how you make pixel art look like water. It's gorgeous. It has like ripples in it, like the actual like shadows and shapes kind of just subtly move underneath it as if it's moving water. There's highlights that go across to symbolize like the waves. So that's going around this castle. Again, we can't really see a whole lot of it. There's mostly at the very bottom of the screen is a stone pathway, and then at the center there's another pathway that shoots upwards. It's maybe like 1, 2, like 3 inches or so wide on my screen with real inch measurements. If that helps. There's smaller walls on either side of that part, extending in towards the castle of this kind of like bridge area. We're top down again, mostly, almost directly top down, but more like if you were looking top down directly at something and then leaned back, like maybe like 20 degrees or so. That's kind of the angle we're on here. And just beyond that, our character Cecil is in the center of screen, maybe a little bit off to the right side. And before him, I'm assuming Cecil, a character had walked out through the castle door. So past this area, where that kind of bridge area ends, are castle doors with some like ponces, torches on either side of the door. A really cool pixelated fire effect. It's good. It looks good. Like it symbolizes fire. There's like a little bit like they add like a little bit of kind of a glow around it. It's really neat. But yes, this other character has now walked through the door and approached Cecil. On either side of the door, where there's some like more castle wall, are two more of those Red Wing guard guys, and then beyond that, the stone of the castle, which is kind of like what you would think like classic gray sort of chunky stone, extends upwards, and to either side, there's two rounded pillars to the left and the right, of this kind of bridge area, not directly right up against it, but maybe like an inch. So there's some water in between, and those extend upwards, and there you can see some windows on that. And then further past both of those on the left and the right is more castle. We can see some banners that are red and gold. Above those, we can kind of see like the castle wall where they have the little peaks where you would, if you were to draw a castle, at the top of the castle, you know how it kind of has like those square little peaks that kind of come out, like almost like a really sparse comb. So yeah, castle all around, and now we have our characters in the center. The doors of the castle are open, but we can't see inside. And uh, the dialogue box is at the top of our screen. Again, centered in top, but not obviously directly at the top. We got maybe about like a centimeter or two where it kind of comes in. Same type of style of dialogue box. The transparent, semi-transparent blue with the white outline. And now the character area says, or the name says, Baigan? 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 I'm gonna call him Baigan. Baigan. Let bygones be bygones. Says, well done. So the crystal is now ours. I'm assuming that this guy is maybe the king or the majesty that they were talking about before on the ship. The sprite itself has what appears to be short blonde hair, on a longer kind of rectangular face, mostly wearing red. I believe what is appearing to be on them is a cloak. The top of the cloak kind of being white, and then the rest of it dripping over the back being red. You know, when you look at like pictures of royalty, and they have like that kind of fluffy fur white rim on the top of like their cloaks, and then the rest extends into like a velvety kind of red, like very stereotypical kind of thing you would expect to see on the internet somewhere. And it looks like there is a chain or a piece of cloth or something that's on either side of the shoulders where the cloak meets, and it comes together in the center as like a tie to keep it on. So I believe that this is maybe the royalty character who's facing towards us, and Cecil facing towards this character, so we see the back. And upon further inspection, Cecil's helmet does definitely appear to have horns on it, so let's continue. Cecil says, the Mycidians put up no resistance. In fact, they were completely defenseless. Well, if they were defenseless and didn't put up resistance, maybe you didn't have to kill them or something? Question mark? I don't know. Killing defenseless people? Not cool. Baigan says, is this pity I perceive? Come, Captain, His Majesty awaits. Okay, so this guy's not the Majesty then. He's kind of looks royalty adjacent. And Cecil follows this guy into the castle. We go to another area. He opens up another door. and the screen faced to black and now faced back in. We're inside the castle walls. There's whole lot of stuff going on in here. We go into another tinier door. Wow, there's a lot to explore here, is all I'm getting. We passed through more, I guess, like the interior exterior part of the wall. Like, you know how there's the outside moated area of the castle, then if you get past the first doors, there's kind of another like outside area where I guess artillery and like more security would be. And then we passed another set of doors, and it looked like we were actually inside the walls. There was like some treasure chests and stuff. We passed through another set of smaller doors, and now we're in. Bagan and Cecil are together alone inside this much smaller room. Like, it's basically a square shape mostly. And Bagan says, "If you'll excuse me, Captain, I must speak to His Majesty in private. Please wait here." The dialogue box again at the top portion of the screen. This portion of castle that we're in, it's indicated that it's smaller and maybe more contained by the fact that a large chunk of it is surrounded by pure blackness. So we only can see the small section that we're in. The bottom of this square, essentially, that's centered to our screen right now. There's maybe like a centimeter that's just pure blackness before we can see a little portion of the outside wall, where the smaller set of double doors is, and we can see the tops of the wall. It's almost as if, like, how do I describe? Because again, this isn't like completely top down. It's more like a slightly angled top down, so we actually can see the intersection as if you took a square hollow box, but it had like the walls had like some thickness to them, and you cut that part, you can kind of see like where that cross section is. There's a little bit of cross section of the wall, so we can actually see into this room. The room itself is a little bit higher up in the center of the main boxed walled off area. The tiles on the ground are a darker kind of sandstone color, and they're more like a stop signy shape, or like a hexagon shape, sort of interlocking. And we can see that on either side of a much larger, more grandiose kind of red carpet. It's got like a intricate design on it, the majority of the carpet being like a darker red. There's some like dotted lines that are a little bit brighter red, kind of like quilt looking, and then has like a cross sort of shape in the middle of each square tile. Well, not tile, but like square part of this rug. One moment. I keep choking on air today. I think it's a little dry in the space that I'm using right now. And then on either side of this red carpet are more intricate, like maybe embroidered designs of gold, kind of like almost flowery type shapes going up either side, like of the carpet outlining it. And then there's two more doors at the far end of the room where we can see the wall has 1, 2, 3, 4 more torches on the top part of the wall. I can kind of sort of see them underneath the dialogue box because it is transparent. And then our characters, Bygan and Cecil, are at the bottom center of where the room is. Bygan facing us and Cecil facing towards Bygan. Okay, Bygan leaves. We fade to black. We fade back into the royal king's room. So this little weasel. Okay, before I get to why Bygan's a weasel, we have entered the king's throne room. in a similar kind of fashion where we can't see into any of the surrounding areas outside of the room that we're currently in. It's just solid black. The king's throne room, the carpet extends upwards from the bottom to the top of the screen until it hits the wall. There is maybe like halfway through the room, more than halfway through the room, there's a set of stairs for an elevated kind of area for where the king is. There are pillars on either side of the carpet towards the bottom. The room itself is almost like a cross in shape, sort of, but like if you took a cross and shortened the top and the bottoms of it and made the left side and the right side much thicker. We have the very center top where the king is, the king's throne, which is also red and gold. Behind the king is some banners on either side of the throne, and then some more torches on either side. And then just past that on either side as well are some more some structural pillars that are built into the wall. These ones aren't rounded; they're just like rectangles with two kind of brassy looking shields. Well, there's two shields in total, one for each structural pillar, and then standing in front of each pillar or rectangular shape is another sprite character. They look like Bygone, but instead of blonde hair and like a red cape and outfit, they have brown hair and a blue cape and outfit, and instead of the white like puffy area or the white shoulder plates, they have like a yellow, so I'm assuming gold shoulder plates. And so there's two of those guys in the room, and Bygone walks right up to His Majesty, who is wearing a gold crown on their head. Their cape, they have a very similar kind of looking outfit to Bygone, but theirs is more glamorous. This king has like a much bigger shawl that goes around the white kind of surrounding the neck and the shoulder area. It flows downwards into a red kind of cape. And they've turned to the side to talk to Bygone, who is on the king's. They're on the king's right side, technically, but us facing the screen, Bygone is on the left side of the screen, next to the throne, next to the... You get it. The king has a beard as well, by the way, which kind of makes them look more short and stubby. Bygone says, "Your Majesty, I am afraid Cecil can no longer be trusted. He clearly questions your authority, and this is why I called him a weasel before." King of Baron, he does. Your counsel is well heeded, Bygone. Why is there always a councilman in everything that is like essentially a snake character who's really pulling the strings underneath what's happening? Okay, and King of Baron says, "But so long as I obtain the crystals, Cecil's transgressions matter little. Send him in." Bygone says, "Yes, your Majesty." And Bygone goes back out towards the bottom of the screen. Doesn't go through the doors, but just, I guess, yells past the wall, saying, "Captain, His Majesty summons you." When Cecil enters the room, oh, we've gone quiet now. Yeah, so Cecil walks up and stops just before the steps to the next platform, like the elevated platform area where the king and the rest of those guys are. King of Baron in the text box says, "The kingdom of Baron hails your return. May I have the crystal?" Cecil says, "Yes, your Majesty." Bygone walks forward, next to Cecil on the left side of the screen. They both turn towards each other, and the text now says, it just says, like, there's no name label anywhere, just handed over the water crystal. Water crystal. Okay, that makes sense for why it was blue in color. Wow, I'm just realizing how chunky Cecil's armor is. It's way more like rounded and chunky than I thought. Let's move over, or move on. Wagon goes back towards the side of the king and says, "It looks genuine to me, sire." King of Baron goes, "It is beautiful to behold. You're dismissed, Cecil." Cecil turns around and walks out. Oh wait, Cecil doesn't walk out. Alright, so Cecil turned around and started walking. The walking animation is extremely cute, by the way. Like, it's so unintimidating. It's kind of like, like really quickly, like fists kind of just going up and down, like. But yes, Cecil walked towards the door, got to the door, paused for a second, lowered their head, looked back up, turned around, and went back towards the king, stopping once again before the stairs. Cecil says, "Your Majesty." And he's trying to give you a visual of what just happened. I guess they weren't expecting Cecil to return because both the king and Bygone, I'm never gonna get this guy's name right, who were just kind of talking to each other like, did like the most hilarious triple, double, super, quadruple take in the world. And it's funny because in sprite form it is just both sprites facing forward, then basically turning sideways then forward, then sideways then forward, and alternating like really quickly, like back and forth, like several times. And it was like King of Baron says, "Yes?" And Bygone says, "Captain, what is it?" Oh, Cecil took a step onto the first step, getting a little bit closer to His Majesty. And Cecil says, the dialogue box is still at the top portion of the screen. "Your Majesty, forgive me, but what are your intentions regarding the crystals? My men are confused and displeased at their orders." Ooh. King of Baron says, "And what of you? Do you question my command?" I mean, any good subject should question the command in power if they're doing bad stuff, right? Cecil goes, "No, I only ask." King of Baron says, "Silence! Do not think your treachery has slipped past me." Oh yeah, the days where questioning anyone in power or who had a lot of money was considered treacherous and would earn you probably very, very, very bad things because, history's fun. King of Baron continues to say, "I trusted you, Cecil, but you leave me no choice. I hereby relieve you of the command of the Red Wings." Cecil goes, "Your Majesty!" And we have dramatic music for the moment. Very fitting of the mood. Boom, boom. Just listen to this for a second. Really, really take in the melodrama that is this score. The music has been wonderful so far. Alright, moving on. Oh. Tweedledee and Tweedledum, who I'm gonna call the other two guards that are in there that kind of look like Bygone, but are not Bygone, but kind of look like him, and they're just, there. Left their posts and moved down and came together side by side before Cecil, and now are standing before him and have pushed him back off the stairs. King of Baron says, "Now, I charge you with another duty. Slay the phantom beast that plagues Mist Valley, and deliver this bomb ring to the village of Mist." bomb ring? You leave tomorrow at first light. Cecil tries to maneuver around Tweedledee and Tweedledum, but they to get like around the king, I guess. But they kind of follow him and don't let him pass. At this point, another character has arrived in the scene. From the bottom center, we have a character moves just up a little bit into the room. So not quite in the center, not quite where Cecil is, just maybe a little bit behind, but at the center, a character which the dialogue box says is Cain, Kain, and Cain says, "Your Majesty, I beg you to reconsider." Cain walks up, now beside Cecil, on Cecil's right hand side, and it's because Cecil is facing towards the king, or looking at Cain, it is actually Cecil's right hand side as well as our right hand side. Cain has a similar sort of garb to Cecil, but a brighter, more sky aquamarine blue color. The horns look more kind of like almost wings at the side of the helmet. The pauldrons, or like where the shoulder armors, are a little bit more protruded, more kind of coming outwards and taller. And I believe this character might be wearing a cape that kind of gets split at the back into like a V shape. Cain says Cecil has done no wrong. Oh, and now both of them are getting escorted out. Alright, so once Cain has come up beside Cecil, the two, again, Tweedledee and Dum, move forward and push them backwards closer to the door. As they're doing this, the king steps off his throne and walks center of the carpet towards them as well, directly behind one of these other guard characters, the one on the right side. So, and then behind the king is the bygone character. So at the very center of our screen right now, if we're going from vertically top to bottom, so closest to the throne is Bygone, then the king's underneath, and then underneath the king is one of the blue guards. Underneath that, the one guard there is Cain. To Cain's left-hand side is Cecil, and then above Cecil is the other guard. The King of Baron says, Cain, if you are so concerned about your traitorous friend, you may accompany him. Cecil goes, Your Majesty. King of Baron, now, take the ring and be gone. This king sucks. Receive bomb ring. Okay, so we have a bomb ring right now. The two guards push Cecil and Cain even further back, right up against the wall. The king and Bygone don't move. Cecil once again says, Your Majesty. And the two guards push them out past, through the door. Okay. We are now in, some sort of, like, living quarters, or, like, maybe eating quarters type sort of style of room. The two guards are out here with us, blocking the doorway, so we can't go back into the throne room. In the center of the screen in this new area, which I will describe in a little bit more detail, Cecil is right in the very center of our screen, our main focus. And to the right side, and so Cecil is like facing, looking right, so we can see the side profile. To Cecil's right is Cain, who is looking left, so we can see the left profile of Cain. Upon further inspection, Cain does seem to have a very similar looking garb to Cecil. They're kind of like very dragon-esque sort of kind of looking style. Like, Cecil looks kind of like almost like a steel dragon with like sharp points and whatnot. and yellow eyes, where Kane seems to be maybe more like a water dragon sort of type thing with like red eyes and like fins instead of like horns. Is that a tail I see? Kane has brown eyes. Also, I'm just realizing. Okay, Cecil says, I'm sorry, Kane. Kane says, once we've completed the mission, the king is bound to forgive us both. You'll command the Red Wings again in no time. Cecil goes ... Kane says, get some rest. Leave tomorrow's preparations to me. And before I hit the enter button on that, because I imagine we'll leave the area, it's the similar sort of, we can see the exterior walls, we can see like all the front faces of the walls essentially from the angle that we're on, and that kind of intersection of where it's cut off because if, so we can see through the walls. It looks much more like a, that same sort of hexagonal brown sandstone tiling on the ground, but now we have a much more like an intricate shape where the walls kind of go in and out, in and out. They get some areas that the center part we're in are right now are bigger, and then they to either side get smaller for a bit, then bigger again. On both the far sides of the left and the right screen, there seem to be tables and stools for like a seating area, so maybe kind of a mess hall. On some of the walls, there's two swords crossed over each other for decoration. There's some more torches as well. The way out of this room is center, and then down at the very bottom of like the wall, it looks like there's more stairs, like a very thin stairwell. So yeah, Kane says, get some rest, leave tomorrow's preparations to me. And Kane walks off to the right side of the screen and away. Ooh, okay. Now, we have a menu that has popped up before us. So the world has, still there behind this new, like a option menu that has appeared before us. It's just a little like, faded. It's faded, it's blurred, it's a little darker, and like all the fire and stuff has stopped moving, so it's like the world maybe is frozen a little bit. The screen that is before me now, this option menu, is a basically much larger version of the dialogue box. Center screen, it's more rectangular in shape, and long wise versus tall wise, if that's a sentence. Same like light blue to darker blue gradation, but without the transparency, so I actually can't see through this menu. Same sort of chunky white outline embossed sort of border. In the top left of this option menu is the word keyboard. The text is like a kind of teal sort of color. It's a small, like a not large text, but like not like teeny tiny. Like it's legible. This is keyboard in the corner. On the far right side of the screen is a longer rectangular bar that goes vertically from like top to bottom of the far right side. The outline of it is a single black pixel line. The main fill color of it is like a dark kind of navy blue, except for a smaller rectangle that is like a whitish gray that's slightly inside the squares lines, indicating like a scroll, like a scroll ability, like you can use that to scroll up and down, which means that the menu options are probably more than what I can see here on screen. Speaking of menu options, in the center most area is where we can see a bunch of options popped up. Now, the most top, I guess, like, option, or might not be options. I think it's just telling us what controls we can use. So it's not centralized, any of this. It's kind of how do I so the left side of the screen, if you go like maybe an inch in, so past where like the keyboard part is, next to that and slightly below it is a little key. So it looks like not like a actual like doorknob key, like a like a keyboard key. Like it looks like a old school sort of keyboard key. It's a long white rectangular shape for the most part that has shading to kind of make it look more beveled in 3D. Surrounding that is a thicker black line, and then surrounding that is another gray line. The rectangular shape is rounded on the edges, and it's small, like it's maybe like an inch across in this, or less than an inch across, maybe like a little bit less than a centimeter high. That button there has the word on it in black, enter, and that's like the pixelized like image there that we can see. And then to the right of that is the word confirm in white. Underneath that is a single pixel thin, kind of grayish line that goes across this, not the whole way across the screen, but it almost goes across the screen going from left to right, except for maybe an inch on both sides, or less than an inch, like half an inch on both sides. And it has like a small drop shadow as well. Then underneath that is like the next segmented area where we have another keyboard key image. It's exactly the same white key that's sort of kind of 3D-ish looking, the way that they have it shaded, outlined in black, and then that outlined in gray. This one says backspace, and then to the right of that, the words are in white again, back/cancel, and then underneath that in this whole same area is run, and then in brackets press and hold. And then again we have that same thin line that divides. It's really just a division line between like all of our keyboard options. So the next one underneath that is tab, which is open and close menu. Underneath that is the Q keyboard button, which says open close map. And then underneath that, auto battle on and off. I'm gonna forget these. I'm gonna immediately forget these. Underneath that is the W key, which is move up. Whoa. The sensitivity on the scroll bar is high up. One moment. Let me just get back to. There we go. Underneath that is the S key. So yeah, WASD is going to be our moving option, or our moving stuffs. The 2 key is going to be switch party member left, which is in brackets. Okay. 3 is switch party member right. Okay, that makes enough sense. Z is page up. X is page down or pause menu. Space is mini map on off. F1 is default speed, walk run. Oh boy. oh boy. F3 is encounters on off. Encounters on off. Can I turn off encounters? What? Okay. If I scroll down more, we have okay, so if we scroll down more, it turns over to shows us the options for the mouse. So like where the text keyboard was in that kind of teal, it now says mouse. And we have little sprite icon pictures of a tiny little mouse, and then to indicate what part of the mouse we're using to do the command. It's just like the black mouse has like the part that you're going to use is turned white. So for the first one here, we have the white highlight is on the left mouse click for confirm, right mouse for back and cancel, and then the scroll button for scroll. Okay, cool. I didn't know that usage of mouse was applicable here, so that's good. At the very, very bottom of the dialog box, outside the dialog box, on the bottom right side, we see the space keyboard icon, and then next to that says close. So I'm gonna take a picture with my phone of these instructions, because there's no way I'm going to remember these off the bat. So let me just get a picture of these right here. Beautiful. Keep those up on my phone. And I'm gonna press space to close. Okay. Okay. And now, we're back in the world. Normal menu. Everything's back to the same color and blurriness, and everything's all animated again. One thing has changed though. In the top right part of the screen, a little bit away from the top edge and the right edge, is a perfect square. That takes up a little tiny portion of the screen. It's a perfect square of a map, and we can see kind of where we are in this area, which is currently. So I can see like a micro or like a mini version of the area that we're in right now. Like the full shape is there in the map. The map is like sepia toned, or like kind of just different shades of brown. The outmost part of so the square itself is outlined by a thin black, slightly transparent pixel line, and then inside that we have like a beige sort of color, which is a little bit like quite a bit thicker, but it kind of like fades out into like almost like if you were to did you ever do back in like grade school projects where you were allowed a little more creativity, and they're like, make this look like an old pirate map, so you would get like coffee and you would stain the paper, sort of that sort of effect where it's kind of like dabbled on with like a cotton ball or something, but going from lighter on the outside to darker on the inside, so light beige to dark brown, filling up the majority of the space. And then our mini version or mini sprite kind of version of the area we're in is more like sandstone shade. Yes. Where we are is indicated by a red arrow that is pointing downwards. So I'm assuming the tip of where we're facing is also where the tip of the arrow is. Because Cecil's looking down screen, the arrow is pointing down screen. It's also not like a perfect rectangle. It's more of like a V-shaped arrow. And we can see, I think that's there's another small little yellow triangle shape also pointing downwards. That's like yellow in color where the stairs are. So I'm guessing that's either where we should be going to, or where we can move to. Let me see. Yeah, so if I move Cecil around right now, wherever Cecil's facing, the arrow key is pointing. Cool. And I can see in the if I don't move long enough, in the bottom right corner, the little X keyboard key icon pops up with the words pause menu right next to it. So I think we're actually into the game right now. But I'm gonna stop here. Unless, what is this? How is the saving convention for this game? Does game automatically save? do I have to, do I have to manually save, uh, or can I'm going to take the risk of, stopping the gameplay here and having to go back through the intro again to get us back to here. Because I think that this is a good place to start our next session. Actually, get into the gameplay and start doing things and having our adventure. Because, yeah, like I said, I've never played a Final Fantasy game before. I have no idea what to expect. I don't know any of the controls. But so far, my interest is definitely peaked. It's very cute looking. It's very dramatic. The music gives so much to the game. The way that the pixel art is, like shaded, styled, created, is so detailed and so pretty, but still very pixel arty. Like, it's funny how the backgrounds actually are much more detailed than the actual character sprites. But that's pretty normal. I'm gonna explore for a second. Let me just walk around, see if there's anything indicating like a save sort of option. Up there's our friend Kane again. Can I can I talk to Kane? When I went right up next to Kane, who's in the rightmost side of like the room in like another like kind of smaller room. There's a large wooden table, and Kane's sitting at this table, looking at these two other guards. When I moved up to Kane, a little speech bubble popped up, coming out from the right side, like of the head. It's like almost like a perfect, not perfect. It's not a perfect. So it's more like an oval, more like an oval shape. A white kind of dialogue box that has a drop shadow on the more like right side that's like black, and then in the dialogue box there's no actual dialogue. It just has like dot dot dot, and it's not 100% black. It's more like a dark gray. If I press enter, will I talk to him? Oh, I will. Cool. Okay. The dialogue box, the actual dialogue box, popped up back at the top of the screen, and Kane says, "What's wrong?" Cecil says, "I'm sorry to have dragged you into this." Kane says, "Don't be. I acted of my own free will." Cecil, "I mastered the dark sword on His Majesty's orders, but it was to protect Baron, not to plunder." Kane says, "You're not to blame. I'm sure the king has his reasons." Cecil, "I envy you, Kane. I envy the path you chose." Kane says, "I suppose I could have gained a higher rank had I become a Dark Knight. My father was a dragoon, but he passed away while I was still young. I felt that I could keep some sort of connection with him if I became a dragoon as well." Okay, so Kane is a dragoon, which explains kind of why Kane looks the way that Kane does. Cecil is a Dark Knight, and yep, that the Cecil's outfit's definitely giving Dark Knight vibes for sure. This all falls together quite well. Cecil goes dot dot dot. Kane says, "I didn't mean to bore you with my stories. Anyway, I don't need your concern. The only thing you should be concerned about is slaying that beast tomorrow. I don't want to be the only one pulling his weight." Cecil, "I'll give you as good as you. Rest assured, I'll give as good as you. Rest assured." Okay, I had to read that a second time to make it process in my brain. Kane, "That's more like it. We should get some sleep. We rise early tomorrow." Okay, so that was Kane. I'm gonna see if I can talk to the rest of these characters. Oh, there's a clock in this room. On the far top wall, near the more right-hand side of that wall, next to a torch, that's just a clock. Just a clock with like a little pendulum going tick-tock, tick-tock. Yeah, let's see if I can talk to any of these Red Wing guard dudes. Okay, the same dialogue option. bubble pops up. So there's two of those guys in this room sitting next to each other on the stools where the same table that Kane is at. I do love how all the characters are continuously just like marching on the spot. Mist Valley is northwest of Barren. Good to note. That's what one of the guards said. Let's talk to this other Red Wing Knight. With you and our commander Kane joining forces, nothing will be able to stop you. That's what the other one said. Okay. I'm gonna go back to the center where we were, where we got kicked out by the king. Maybe I can talk to the Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I'm gonna call them that forever. I'm terribly sorry if people are unhappy by this. Okay, yes, they do have dialogue boxes. I'm gonna talk to the one first on the right side of the door. If you value your life, you'd best put king and country before anything else. Oh boy. Alright, let's see what the one on the left side of the door has to say. I've heard rather disturbing rumors regarding the king lately. Oh, but isn't that treacherous to say, sir, who just kicked me out of the king's room? Okay, and let's go to the far left side of this area. There's two more red-winged guard dudes sitting around a different table, a different wooden table. Let's talk to both of them. His Majesty is acting very strange lately. Okay, let's talk to the other dude. Whatever others may say, I trust the king. We got a lot of conflicting things happening here, guys. So, I think that's everything I can do here, unless I can. Can I try to go back to the king? Oh, I can go back to the king's room. Oh, okay. Well, not technically. There's the little square room before the king's room that I'd have to get past, and there's a different guard here who looks the same as the bygone dude, but has like red auburn hair and is wearing more like a purple outfit. Can I talk to this character? I can talk to this character. I'm gonna walk up and talk to this one. It says, the king is most displeased. He will not see you until you have delivered the bomb ring to the village of Mist. Well, la-dee-da. Okay, I'm gonna go back down and towards the door. Okay, so the only... Oh, that's cool. When I moved from room to room, a smaller dialogue box appeared at the very top, and it said, Castle Baron 42? I think. Hold up. Castle Baron -2F. Okay, so second floor. So we're on the second floor right now. Good to know. I think the only other place we can go is down and out of this room. Let me hit the pause menu real quickly. Return to... Okay, when I hit the pause menu, very similar to when we had that keyboard option menu pop up, the world kind of got dimmer, blurrier, and more faded. And in the very, very center of the screen, in nice, bold white lettering, is the word pause, all in capitals. At the bottom of the screen is a smaller long rectangular dialog box that has the options on the left side that say return to field, controls, and return to title screen. That little pointer finger glove from before when we were talking about has also reappeared to show us where we are selecting right now. Also, the option we're hovering over does turn to yellow. Return to field. So return to field, I think, means to go get out of the pause menu. And return to title screen, I guess, would be the equivalent of quitting. So I'm going to leave this here so that we can start, like I said, the adventure fresh and right off the bat. Now that we've kind of gotten out of that introductory phase, this has been really fun. I'm enjoying this quite a bit so far. There's something quaint and special about a lot of these older pixel style games. It's a whole other kind of world and adventure that I know a lot of people would have grown up with, and others wouldn't have been able to grow up with. But you get to kind of see people go back and re-enjoy these sort of things. So I hope that for some of you, this will be nice and nostalgic, and we can kind of relive this adventure together. And for some of you, it's going to be our first time experience together playing this Final Fantasy IV game. And I hope that I can do it justice while also maybe, you know, lulling you to sleep. So I'm going to return to the title screen. Oh, okay, hold up. Return to title. So when I went down to the last option, return to title screen, another dialog box popped up above the option box at the bottom. This dialog box is a lot thicker in height, but not as long in length. In the center of it says return to title screen, and then underneath that, proceed, question mark. Underneath that, unsaved settings will be discarded. It's kind of like that centralized font style where it's all like kind of centered in the middle. And then below that, we have a divider line again, like a thin pixel divider line. And at the very bottom of this option screen here, we have the options for yes and no. Yes on the left side, right on the no side. Our little finger pointer glove guy is back here as well. It says unsafe settings will be discarded. So I'm going to hover over yes. I'm going to highlight that yes in yellow. I'm going to select it. And if for whatever reason we start the game again next week and I'm back to the very beginning, you know what? My fault, my bad. I will go through that all again to get us back to the point where we continue from. And I'm sure we'll actually learn how to use the same mechanics. Or I could probably just ask someone who's played the game before and spare us all the trouble. Maybe I should just do that. But anyways, let me get out of here. We fade back out to black, and we fade back into our title screen. The beautiful title screen that is Final Fantasy IV. This music really kind of fits like a certain tone, kind of gets you ready to go into a mystical adventure. And I think a really good soundtrack to close off to. This is calming. It's like whatchamacallit. It's got that kind of like eerie, sleepy mysticalness almost to it. So I think this is a good way to maybe end off all of our Final Fantasy IV episodes to get you back into drifting off into that magical sleep world that you will enter to. Anywho, thank you for joining me for the first Final Fantasy IV episode. I'm so happy that you're here with me. I hope that you have either fallen asleep or are now cozy and relaxed enough to try and fall asleep. I hope you have the most sweetest of dreams, because you deserve sweet dreams. And remember, I'm only just a play button away. Have a good night. Toodles.